Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This may look like the same as the last YouTube, but we have progressed and the onions have dried out and I have strung them up. And although they're not as good as last year, they're still something, and these hopefully will last me into at least January, probably not March this year, but that's better than nothing. And the good news is that I've now got my clothes horse back. Talking of onions, I've got here some overwintering onions called Radar, which I grew last year. I was hoping to get some from Wilko or the pound shop, but they don't seem to do them, certainly not my local ones. And the local one, since mid-September, has filled its shelves with Halloween stuff, and so they're not going to do any more gardening. So I don't know what's happened, so I've had to buy these, and it's these tailor's sets that I've bought. What's good is that the plastic they came in this time has been compostable plastic, and I've noticed that companies such as the RHS and their magazine is now sent out in compostable packaging such as paper, and also their old Gardener's World. It comes in this envelope now. The plants that are going to come out are the Greek Gigante plants on the allotment, and this is the soft stuff that will go straight into a plastic bag and be frozen, and these are the dried ones, which I'll probably keep in that paper bag for a little while and then finally put it into a bottle. And when the Gigantes come out, then these will go into the ground, which hopefully is very soon. While I'm here, I'm just going to have a quick look at these Atlas carrots, also known as Paris Market 5, and see if there's anything that I'm not going to embarrass myself with. Ooh, that's not too bad. It's a little mouthful. And that. And that. They're all sweet little things. Oops, sorry. And that goes down in one bite. But I think that should be quite interesting. I'll just boil those up and eat them. Well, I'm still in my back garden, and I'd like to show you a couple of the fruit trees that I've either just pruned or need to be pruned. And if you just notice how large that Taunton Dean perennial kale is at the side of it, that is about 7 foot now. It's not going to last much longer, so hopefully I've got some to replace it. I've pruned the plum tree. Plum trees and stone fruits such as peaches and cherries get pruned while the leaves are still on to prevent disease going into the wounds, and so this is the right time to prune this. I've taken off the usual criteria. The first branches you remove are those that are damaged, diseased, dying, and I've also removed that top branch there which was sticking up really quite high, and there were quite a few of the branches round here that came really low down to there and had fruit hanging off them, almost down to the ground, and I've removed those, and I made it into a sort of lollipop-ish shape. And I've also removed quite a few of the small little branches in between that were crossing over, and that's meant to help the flow of air, which is also meant to prevent my nemesis, brown rot. I've also got another little plum tree. This is the Victoria self-fertile plum tree, and I have another little plum tree which is also self-fertile called Opal. And this is Opal, going up a bit high, but as it's only about 4 years old, I don't think it's the right time to prune it. The fruit are little round things like that, and they are ready about 4 weeks before Victoria. And here is a quince tree in the front garden, and I should have pruned this a couple of years ago. It does get very messy, and the branches come out at all different angles. This will be pruned after it has fruited and the leaves have come off, but I have to make sure I prune it before the next lot of shoots come out, so it has to be somewhere in December to give it the right time. Unfortunately, I can't use these fruits because I will explain to you another time, they don't take up the nutrients. For some reason there's plenty of compost in the soil, but the tree can't take that up, and it could be because there's a pan of clay there. I have had a chat to the RHS advisors, and they're not much more helpful than saying it can't take up the nutrients. And this lone bucket of soil is one of 7 that I got from a skip. And you know I like to get things for free or cheaply or reuse or repurpose as much as you can for the allotment, which I think is quite a good way of thinking with gardening and allotments. And so I'll show you where I got it from. And this is the skip that I've got permission from this morning to take soil from. It's very good soil. It's got lots of worms in. I've taken 7 buckets because I'm pretty tired after a run this morning. But this is really good soil, and I have been removing these roots from it. I normally put the soil through a sieve, but my garage is a mess at the moment and I can't find the sieve. So I've been filling up 7 buckets of these and I'll take them to the allotment. And I'm back on plot 1 on the allotment, and I've got a couple of the buckets of soil which I'm going to just sprinkle around here to add some microorganisms, bacteria. It helps a bit. I've actually filled the soil level up, and I have put a very large sheet of cardboard down underneath some of this soil and just a little bit of poultry manure, because this is going to be where I have the overwintering broad beans, far fewer than last year. But at this time of the year, everything's looking a bit sad, not least the tomatoes. The tomato plant that I grew very late, a Brandywine, has come up with enormous green tomatoes, and at least if they turn slightly yellow, I can have fried green tomatoes. The shimmer has been very prolific. Some of the shimmers have been a bit tasteless and others very sweet. So again, the jury's out on those. But I'm still getting tomatoes from there. I'm still getting these lovely great big tomatoes from Brandy Boy. And then coming over to this side, Shirley have given me a great deal. They are very prolific. It's the first time I've grown them, and someone gave me 2 plants. They are a bit ordinary. Some people will totally disagree with me, but they are prolific and you can get a lot of tomatoes. And the green zebra have been ripening very slowly now, and I think that some of those are going to have to come out. And this one I've got, again, I planted this one late, and I'll have 1 green tomato. And here the courgettes have all been pulled up, and just one very sad winter squash is still sitting there. But we're coming into October now, and I think even if it's not ripe, it's going to have to be pulled up and try to ripen indoors. And in fact, I think I'll cut it off now, because there's not going to be a lot of sun. 1 there, oops, and 1 there to get this little T shape, and then you can hold it up with that. And here is my very small, not very successful crown prince. So I'm going to cut it off there, cut it off there, cut it off there. And I'm going to put it in a dry place and allow it to ripen. And last year my crown prince kept right until May. Well, here's my Marina di Chioggia. Not a bad size at all. There are no warts on it. And here's the little fella, the little crown prince. Well, I just hope that this will mature and it will be edible, but I'll let you know in a few months' time. I still have plenty of crown prince roasted and frozen in individual portions, and so I'm not too worried about not having any to eat. I didn't intend showing you anything of Wisley again, but I've just got 2 minutes to show you of how maybe some winter squashes should look like. I had no intention of filming anything at Wisley this time. I was just going to enjoy myself and walk around as I usually do, but this is just such a wonderful display of produce, of winter squashes, so I just had to film it. And it's in a lovely wooden greenhouse, and look at that, there, some kind of blue Hubbard group. They're enormous and they are pale grey blue. And then here comes my Marina di Chioggia, which is of the turban group, which is nice to know because they don't look like mine at all. So I wonder if I have got a Marina di Chioggia. We'll see. And then the Turk's turban. And look at these strange pale salmony pink ones with all these little warts on them called Gâteau des Cygnes. My French is non-existent. And then Cucurbita moschata or moscata, Rouge Vie de l'Impasse. Oh, the French is getting worse. I think I'll stop now. But just look at them, they are so beautiful. And there's a layer underneath which I haven't shown you yet. Look at that, pink banana jumbo. And then of course we had the uchiki kuris or the red kuris. And then underneath there's another layer which I won't take you through right now. What a wonderful show. Well, this is a small part of the verge in the front of my house. And if you've enjoyed watching this video, then please subscribe and please leave a message, and I hope to speak to you soon.